There is great unrest in the Star Wars fandom. Under the reign of the Lucasfilm president and her Disney allies, the galaxy has fractured. Striking from their hidden basements, a resistance has turned against one of their favorite characters. With the aid of a bot army, they have possibly marred the success of Solo, which was actually a lot of fun and pretty cool. And I'm Defo Team Luke, and I was against a Han movie from the beginning, so it had to be good if I liked it, right? I didn't cry at Chewie, we're home. Those moof milkers did. Anyway, many of the resistance fought to bring back Legends and #Save Clone Wars. With the surprise announcement of Clone Wars return and completion, just what will these nerf herders gripe about next? That was a scripted homage to Tom Kane's Star Wars The Clone Wars newsreel introductions. I don't remember if Lucas explicitly decided on those, or if it was a Filoni thing, or if it was the whole creative team after Lucas pitched it, or what. But anyway, that's my little introduction. I am Matthew, and these are my offhand remarks on Clone Wars Saved. Star Wars The Clone Wars means a lot to me. I think it's safe to say, I think it's very possible to say that Clone Wars saved my Star Wars fandom. I was expecting that Revenge of the Sith would be the last new thing I ever saw out of Star Wars. At the time, Lucas said it was. He said there was going to be no 7, 8, 9. This was obviously years, 7, 8 years before he sold Lucasfilm to Disney. It was before Kathleen Kennedy was a part of of Lucasfilm as the president. In fact, and this isn't to bash Kennedy, but her hiring and then the sale to Disney 6 months to a year later actually ended the Clone Wars and started the whole hashtag of Save the Clone Wars or Save Clone Wars, as well as Legends. And anyway, the interesting thing for me about Clone Wars was that I had always really liked the prequels. Of course, my original trio, and I mean that kind of as a double entendre of Luke, Han, and Leia. I loved Luke, Han, and Leia together as a team. And the original movies, of course, were so good. But the prequels really were amazing for me. I love Qui-Gon Jinn from the off. It made sense that he died, and I wasn't too shocked by that in Phantom Menace. But I was so saddened. And my favorite thing about Clone Wars is it gave me so much more time to really enjoy who Anakin Skywalker is, or was, or whatever. And it really made... I already had been convinced by the end of Revenge of the Sith that I understood what Lucas was going for, that Luke and Leia, and with the help of Han, of course, they accomplished something amazing. Ultimately, as the prequels went on, while I was waiting for them, waiting for Attack of the Clones to come out, and waiting for Revenge of the Sith to come out, and enjoying the Clone Wars micro series. Oh my gosh, we need to talk about that too. As I was watching those movies, I would rewatch the the original trilogy, and I'd put the Phantom Menace VHS in, and then I'd put in my VHS set of the other three, and then my Clone Wars, my Attack of the Clones DVD that I bought and that I wore out, and I don't know where it is now. I have the Blu-ray, but I have no idea where the DVD is, and that kind of hurts because there's a commentary tack on there. There's all sorts of bonus material that's there on the individual DVD that's not on the Blu-ray. And speaking of which, I have the first 3 seasons of Clone Wars on disc as well. 1 and 2 are DVD, and then I think 3. I don't know if 3 was only Blu-ray or if it was everything fit into one Blu-ray. So I wanted that, and the better visual quality too, because by the third season of Clone Wars, it just looks so much better than the first and second season. So anyway, but anyway, I would like recontextualize the movies by going back and looking at Clone Wars and seeing, look at the other movies and kind of compare it all. And this was before Clone Wars came out, but then Clone Wars finally came out, and I got to see more of Anakin. I wasn't shocked or upset by the fact that he had a Padawan. It made sense to me, especially with Yoda's little thing at the end of the Clone Wars movie, which I actually enjoy the Clone Wars movie. I don't see it as the black mark on the series that everybody else does. It's just really funky and really different, and I definitely think, it's flawed, but it worked well enough for me, and it was a first entry into this, new, undiscovered branch of the universe, and the fact that it was a little janky in places, I didn't really mind. And then we got the Clone Wars out of it, so and actually my wife and I went to go see the Clone Wars movie together, and we went to this cheap theater near us that I still go to for certain things. We've been doing the drive-in lately, which is cool because we get to take all our kids and eat whatever food we want. Heck, we even brought thermoses with hot chocolate and coffee when we first started going back in December, or in November, I think. Anyway, this is months and months later, but we saw the Clone Wars movie together, and we both kind of looked at each other afterwards. And, what did you think about that? I'm not sure, and I'm looking forward to the series, and I would like to see more of that. Some of the character models are a little weird. They're super stylized, but you know what? I wonder if in part I was prepared for how stylized they were going to be because of my enjoyment of Tartakovsky's Clone Wars micro series, the two that he did. So anyway, I was a little upset at the time that Filoni had taken over and that Tartakovsky wasn't going to be getting the Clone Wars, because I really loved what he did with that micro series. I thought it was so inventive and imaginative and I don't know, creative, and I liked the visuals of it. I hadn't really seen Samurai Jack or any of his shows up until that point, just because I don't think I had Cartoon Network at that time, I guess it was Cartoon Network. And anyway, I really liked what he did. Some of the action in the Clone Wars micro series is ridiculous. As far as the jumping around and stuff, like some of the stuff Mace Windu gets to do, but they're kind of like tall tales, and that's what makes it fun. Whereas the Clone Wars was very serious. It felt like, and it's Star Wars, so anyway, this is really pedantic, but the Genndy series is, people either call it the Genndy series or it's the Clone Wars micro series, because that's what it was called. And then this Clone Wars is Star Wars The Clone Wars, and then I can't remember what they called the movie, because I don't think they called it Star Wars Clone Wars the movie. Anyway, and then it almost feels like with this season, this Clone Wars season, it seems like it's a compilation. I watched Star Wars Explain's video, or Star Wars Explained put out a video on it. Alex from over there, he put out a video on it, and he was saying that it looks like it's going to be a 12-episode arc, or not 12-episode arc. It'll be a 12-episode season. And it'll probably be combining, I think he said, bits of 7 and 8, seasons 7 and 8 together. I believe the last thing we were supposed to see, and this is kind of spoilery, so be warned, was the Siege of Mandalore, and that the Star Wars The Clone Wars was going to end like the Tartakovsky series did, the second one, going into Revenge of the Sith, actually. And you know what? No. I heard that there were actually plans to finish, Ahsoka was going to be running from Order 66, perhaps, in the season 8. So maybe it's mostly just season 7 content that's going to get pushed into this, and it could be 6 and 7. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm just so excited that the Clone Wars is saved. I'd given up years ago. Especially when Rebels came out, I thought, well, they're doing the Rebels thing, and it sounds like, Filoni's position has changed, which his position at Lucasfilm did change 3 years ago, probably, and he became the executive director of Rebels much like Lucas had been to the Clone Wars. Right. Anyway, and so I realized, he's going to be in a way different position. Other people are going to be directing the episodes. He might not be writing as much, and I never really followed up. I don't know that he wrote the big episodes, or if he just had more of a hand in pushing the story on those, or what. And it was mostly because, honestly, I didn't like some of Rebels. The first 2 seasons I thought were pretty solid, and then after that it was kind of up and down for me. I love the Purgils. I probably love most of the things that people hated about Rebels, except I never really fully liked Ezra. He was just kind of, he was the guy I had to put up with being the protagonist, but I was really there for Kanan. I really love that guy. Anyway, well, again, I don't want to get too off. So I'll try to stay. So these are my offhand remarks. But I'm trying to stay focused on at least the subject of Clone Wars. So yeah, Clone Wars was a great thing. My wife and I watched it together, not religiously or anything, but we pretty much made it a point to enjoy it together, and we did. And we both remember, I told her, I guess back in like 2015, like, hey, apparently this 5th season of Clone Wars that we're watching right now, it's going to be the last one. But because of the podcasts I was listening to at the time, I knew that there were more episodes of Clone Wars that they had been making, that they'd been producing, because I ended up hearing on the once vaunted Forcecast that the production for the Clone Wars, even though Lucas said he was done, the production for Star Wars The Clone Wars pretty much happened in like 2005 or maybe early 2006, maybe, because I'm pretty sure it debuted in 2007, and Filoni's always been like a year and a half to 2 years ahead of the fans as far as what he's been working on and what's coming out, and that's an interesting thing. And yeah, anyway, I'm just super excited. I don't know that I would like demand, like, I'm not going to get greedy, I'm really happy that they're going to finish out what they had started, and that little trailer that they dropped at San Diego Comic-Con, and that thankfully now they're like releasing onto YouTube right away, so you don't have to like look for a panel recording and then skim through to the right part and all that stuff. They're just kind of doing it concurrently, which is pretty great because I'm never going to go to a con probably, but it's nice that I get the benefits of it to some extent. Anyway, I'm not going to get greedy. I don't need them to go beyond. It sounds like they're going to try to finish it. At first I thought, is this a movie they're going to do? Like, it's going to be a Siege of Mandalore Clone Wars movie? This is nuts. And then, like I said, I listened to Star Wars Explains video, and he said it's going to be 12 episodes. And I'm just really excited. He identified for sure like 2 or 3 arcs that it could be, and he thinks that's probably going to be like, 8 to 9 episodes. He said it'd probably be around 9 episodes, but I don't know. I would give it a little more variance and say it's maybe 7 to 9 episodes, so then, we'll have room for another arc or 2 in there. And I think that's pretty exciting because, again, the Clone Wars is great. Oh, even when they made the announcement they were going to salvage some of it and make the 6th season, The Lost Missions, some of my favorite Star Wars is there. I love the whole thing with Yoda going and learning, the deeper mysteries of the Force. The Mace Windu, Jar Jar Binks buddy cop team-up episode is awesome. Or the episodes are great. I absolutely love them. There's so much good in that last season. I think there's one thing that I didn't like so much, but it was short. So yeah, it was really good stuff. I'm glad Clone Wars is back, and I'm really glad that they're going to be using real sets, real models, that they're going to be in a real desert with real sand and all that jazz. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, yeah, the character models look great. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's exciting. These are things that I'd kind of known about. I never had the commitment to fully watch all the animatics of the episodes that they're going to be going into, some of them, on the StarWars.com website. I'm not sure why I didn't watch all of them. I watched the Crystal on Mustafar, the giant Kyber crystal episode on Mustafar, and that was pretty cool. But I didn't really check out the others. I read a lot of the notes that they made, or that Filoni put out. It was like 2 years ago, maybe. Anyway, that was a lot of fun to see that stuff come to light. And then, now that Rebels is over, and I really did like the end of Rebels. It was really great, and not like, oh, because it's over, but just because I thought the ending was super solid. But I'm glad to know that we're going to get a little more Clone Wars, and I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm definitely going to be subscribing to that. I'll either be subscribing to that Disney streaming service for like a month, or I don't know, if there's a way to buy the episodes outright, I'm definitely open to doing that, because I'd love to watch them again and again, just like we've probably seen Clone Wars as a family like 2 or 3 times through. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Anyway, take care, folks. Until next time, be well. If you enjoyed this, you can go ahead and give me a like. You can subscribe to get more. You can ring that notification bell to get more faster. And leave comments. Tell me what your favorite parts of the Clone Wars were. Tell me if you're going to petition to not only save Clone Wars, but like resurrect it and keep it going for more and more. Do you want to see the season 8 content and beyond? Yeah, we can have a conversation. I like conversations, so